Hi everyone, it's Kino here. Welcome to this 10-minute yoga practice for hip flexibility. If you enjoyed this video, like it, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you want to practice with me deeper, check out my online channel, Omstars. Okay, let's do the practice. Come to a comfortable seated position. Close the eyes. Let's bring the hands together. A long, deep breath in. As you exhale, let's softly open the eyes. All right, we're going to get started on the hands and knees. So let's come over onto the hands and knees. And our focus is hip flexibility today. So let's get right into the hips. Starting off in a neutral spine, I want you to sway from side to side to kind of get to know the outer limit of the hips when we go side to side. A lot of hip flexibility is actually awareness work. So we just need to be able to feel the hips so that then we can slowly target the flexibility and the strength. We can begin to understand, where are we weak, where are we flexible, where are we tight, and where are we strong. All right? Okay, now we're gonna go around the world. So we go over to the right side, we drop to the front of the hip socket, we roll through the left side, swing it back. We're gonna do that 3 times. This is the second round. We're rolling through the hip joints, all right? So we're getting to know the hip. That was the third round. You want to reposition. Now we switch directions. Over to the left side. We roll to the front of the hip and swing it around. Over to the left side. We're going to roll to the front of the hip. And last one. Swing it over to the left. Roll to the front of the hip. Bring it back. Nice. What did we learn? How did that feel? How did the hips feel from this? Let's keep that little light swinging action. Nice. Okay. Now, let's curl the toes under, and we're going to begin in downward facing dog. So let's inhale up to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, we're working hip flexion, hands shoulder width apart, feet hips width apart, taking a relatively long distance between the hands and the feet, so we don't want to be too close, and we don't want to be too far, so relatively long. Then let's bend the knees so we can really work the hip flexion to the maximum. That's when we close the front of the hip joint, when the thighs get close to the body, and then let's push to straighten. So now we begin to work deeper into the hip socket, into the hamstrings and the pelvis. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale. Bend, working the hip flexion. Inhale, we press. Downward facing dog. That's nice. Let's do 1 more. Exhale, bend, work the hip flexion. Nice. Straighten, and downward facing dog. Good job. Now, inhale, step the left foot forward. Let's grab a yoga block. All right. Slide that onto the outside edge of the left foot. Let's externally rotate the right hip joint. And now we're going to come into Trikonasana, the triangle pose. Now you're actually focusing on the left hip, so we're even though we turned the right foot out to get into the pose, it's the left side external rotation where we're building the strength and the flexibility. So let's inhale and lift the right arm up, and we'll hold that for 5 breaths. So we have 1, deep breath in, deep breath out. That's good. 2, 3. If you don't need the block, you can put the hand on the floor, or you can hold on to your big toe. Let's go for 2 more breaths. Nice, let's do 1 more breath. Good, switch your gaze down. Let's hold on to the block. Inhale, we come up, pivot the left foot in, the right foot out, and then let's glide down into the right hip joint. You can see I'm pulling the left hip back to avoid turning the pelvis forward. So we're trying to really slide into the external rotation. The navel draws in, and then we're pressing down into the legs, and then slowly lift the left arm up. That's good. Hold it there. 1, I want you to feel your hips. So there's a tendency whenever our arms are involved for the arms to do all the work. So I really want you to use your legs. Feel the legs, even though they're getting a stretch. We want it to be dynamic and active. That's good. Nice, we'll do 2 more breaths. Good, keep the breath long and deep. Let's do 1 more breath. Very good. This time switch the gaze down. I'm going to drop that left hand down, lightly bend the right foot, and let's just move that block out to the side. All right, now we're gonna bend the knees out to the side. We're gonna come into this goddess pose, which is quite good for strengthening the hips. I want you to slowly walk up. We're gonna turn the feet out, and we're gonna really work external rotation. So you're gonna work the feeling of the glutes. We're gonna work the hip creases, and let's hands on the knees for 5 breaths. You can even have a little fun. You can go side to side. We'll hold 1, 2, that's it, keep breathing. 3, we're working the legs. 4, nice, doing really well. Okay, now we're gonna see if we can do a little extra. This is quite challenging, but we try. Let's bend a little forward, and we're gonna push that right knee out to the side. All right, don't overdo it. Just hold for a couple, just 1, 2 breaths, bring it back up. Good, drop the left. Stay there, hold it, bring it back up. Nice. Now, test it, arms, and all the way up. Ooh, the legs were burning on that one. Okay, let's come on back to the front of the mat. We're gonna roll down through that hip flexion. All right, so we're gonna close the front of the hip joint by drawing the knees together. It's the opposite movement of what we just did, but still working the strength and flexibility in the hip. Utkatasana, chair pose. 5 breaths. 1, 2, navel is in. 3, chest is elevated. Reach. 4, and 5. Exhale down. Now peel the heels off. And just let the thighs kind of connect with the torso. And then exhale, sink all the way down. Even that was quite a big jump to go down, it's okay. Let's separate the knees. Let's find ourselves in Baddha Konasana. All right. Separating the soles of the feet as much as possible. Inhale a long, deep breath in. We'll lift the center of the chest. And then exhale, start to pivot forward. And try to get that feeling of a pivot rather than a roll forward. Even if you don't go very far, see if you can really lead with the center of the chest. And just go a little bit and just find the pivot. Go ahead and work the hips, all right? Get the feeling. Okay, let's stay there. Breathing. 2, 3, working the pivot in the hips, working strength and flexibility. 4, almost there. That's good. 5, inhale, we come up. Now, we're gonna elongate Baddha Konasana a little bit. So let's bring forward. This time, depending on the level of comfort in the outer bands of the knees, you might need to use the blocks as support. So now we're in the diamond stretch. All right, so see if you need the blocks of support. If not, we can move those over to the side. So the feet need to go forward enough so that you see a diamond shape between. Square is okay, the diamond is better. Then pivot forward just like we did for Baddha Konasana, except now instead of the hands on top, I'd like you to slide the hands under so that you kind of lift the feet up. Then inhale a big breath in. And you can stay here or exhale, fold, and now we curl the head under. And let's stay here for 5 breaths. 1. Deep breath in, deep breath out. 2. 3. 4. Almost there. No force, no fight, just breathe. Let's go for 1 more breath. Inhale, we lift the center of the head up. Exhale here. First, remove your hands. Then I want you to engage your core because you may have felt your back muscles. And the back muscles are a big part of what it takes to open the hip, actually. So inhale, we come up. When the back muscles release, we get access to the external rotation. So don't be alarmed if you felt that in the back, as well as maybe in the outer band of the thighs or even into the glutes. Now let's bend the knees. We're going to hug the knees into the chest just for a moment. Give it a good squeeze under. All right. Now let's lie down. So I want you to roll your spine down. So let's give it like a nice roll. That's good. All right. Now let's inhale and lift the feet up. We'll start off in Viparita Karani. Just pointing the feet up. We'll stay for 5 breaths like this, letting the thigh bones kind of get comfortable. Forward bend, of course, is a part of hip flexibility, so you could even explore like a mini forward fold while we're here. Let's stay 2 more breaths. You can point the feet, keeping it slightly active. Nice. One more breath. Good. Okay, now reclining straddle. So we're gonna separate the feet. And this, you can use your hands underneath the knees. It can be quite intense. Only 5 breaths. Okay, you can do it. 1, 2, releasing through the hips, releasing through the inner thighs. 3, 4. You can do it. It's just one more breath. 5. Let's bend it. Let's bring the legs up and bend the knees. And now we move into happy baby, which also works the inner thigh and the hip, but slightly different place. 5 more breaths. 1, 2. Easy does it. You can even go a little to one side, a little over to the other side. 3. Try to keep the baby happy. Don't force it too much. 4. And 5. Let's bring the soles of the feet together and let's just revisit the diamond shape for a moment. Just give a little rocking action. All right, that's good. Now, exhale, let's place the feet down. Good, we're just gonna bring both knees over to the left side for a moment. Just like a nice, easy kind of drape, letting any tension in that right side release. Stay for one more breath. And back to the center and then drape to the other side. Good. That front of the left hip releases. And back to the center. Lie down. Let the hips rest. Let the mind rest. Allow yourself now to just have compassion for whatever level of flexibility you reach today. Take a moment to say to your hips, I love, honor, and accept and respect you exactly as you are. Keeping that sense of acceptance, a long, deep breath in. And as you exhale, let's reawaken the body. You can do some small movements, a light stretch. As you exhale, we'll fold over to the side. Inhale, come on back up, finding a comfortable seated position. Eyes closed, hands in prayer. As you exhale, let's softly open the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me on this practice. May your hips be more flexible, and may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be filled with love.